Did you know that journaling, specifically about anger, can be a powerful tool in your recovery from spiritual abuse? In today's video, I'm going to talk about why this is the case and give you an example about how to do so. My name is Dr. Felucia. I'm a licensed psychologist and owner of Skill Set Counseling, where I focus on the treatment of OCD, spiritual abuse, and cultural abuse. And today's video is going to be within the domain of spiritual abuse. So back to the topic at hand. Why is journaling specifically about anger so helpful in your recovery from spiritual abuse? And when I talk about spiritual abuse, this can also be applied to other types of abuse as well: emotional abuse, narcissistic abuse, whatever the case may be. So how does this work? Why does this work? In spiritually abusive environments, anger is often weaponized against the people who are the recipients of spiritual abuse. So when I talk about anger being weaponized, I'm talking specifically about the experience of anger. And in a lot of these environments, people who are in charge, or people who are, fueling the spiritually abusive system, will tell people you can't be angry, right? Or they will shame people for being angry. A lot of times it's more subtle. So you'll hear things like the only type of anger you can experience, or you should be experiencing, is righteous anger, right? But if you are angry about anything that has happened to you or somebody that you love, then you are bitter, selfish, weak, all these other things. And what that does is it strips people of their humanity. Spiritually abusive environments are they really attack people just for being normal human beings, right? And everybody gets angry. It's not being angry, it is the experience of anger. Well, not the experience of anger, rather, but it's how that anger is expressed that is most important. But there's nothing wrong with being angry. Anger can be a powerful tool to action, and it can also help us learn a lot about ourselves. So that's the first thing I want to say about that. By the way, if you're finding this content helpful, I'd really like it if you take a moment to like this video, share this video with someone who might benefit from it. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so, as well as comment below. What this does is it helps get this video out to other people like you who are benefiting from the content. Okay, so back to anger. When you hear these messages from abusive environments about why you are a bad person for being angry, that can result in repressing your emotions, especially anger, right? So you can have a lot of challenges when you are being told this, either directly or indirectly. When you experience anger, then all these other emotions come along, like shame. Oh my goodness, I'm a bad person for feeling angry. Fear. What if someone finds out that I'm angry? What are they going to say about me? What am I going to do because I'm angry? And then there's also just a lot of repression, because after time, you find out, you come to learn that, look, admitting that you're angry or showing any kind of anger is punished, right? And it's weaponized against you, right? So someone might say something to you, gosh, why are you so angry? Making it seem like there's something wrong with you for being angry. And so it's really important that you understand the messages that you've been getting from others in this abusive environment about anger. Okay, so what I'd like for you to do is to take a moment to grab something and journal with. I have my journal right here. And so I use this, I use other types of tools for journaling as well, but find something that you can write with, preferably if you don't have a journal already. But if you don't, opening up your smartphone and opening a tab in there to take notes, or even opening a document on your computer, same thing. I just want you to have something ready so that we can go through one of these journaling activities together. Okay, so here's what I'd like for you to journal about. The first thing I'm going to ask you is to think about a time that you recently felt anger, right? So the prompt would look something like, recently I felt anger about blank. So take a second and think about a situation in which you felt anger. What was it about? Take a second to write it down. And what I would suggest is just take some brief notes, and then you can go back and fill in things a little bit later when you have more time. Okay, so take a minute to do that, or take a few seconds. All right, the next question is, how did I express my anger? So think about that recent experience in which you were angry. How did you express your anger? What did you do? Did you, I'm curious to know how what you did about it. Did you stuff it in? Did you speak up about it? Did you do something to distract you? It's really important to, to understand your response. And then the next thing I want you to think about is, how did this anger show up in my body? I'm going to talk a little bit about this more in future videos, but when people have been spiritually abused, a lot of times there is what results is a disconnection between our minds and our bodies, right? Because in these types of environments, we've been told a lot of times that our humanity is bad, it is sinful, it shows our weakness, and it just means that we're bad people. A lot of times when we experience those emotions that that the spiritually abusive environment condemns or says that are bad, we learn over time that it's not safe to experience those emotions, and we almost have a disconnect between our minds and our bodies. And so when that disconnection happens, it's really difficult when you're feeling physiological sensations of something to understand what it actually means, because you're so used to repressing it. So I want you to take a second, and I've noticed that in my work with individuals who are recovering from spiritual abuse, this can actually be quite a difficult question to answer. But I want you to take some time and just think about it. How did this show up in my body? Did you feel anything in your chest, your stomach, your head? Whatever, just think about that. And if you don't have an answer, it's okay to come back to it later, but I want you to start being aware of those things. Okay, so the next message is, what did the spiritually abusive system, or whatever abuse you were experiencing, what did they tell you about being angry, right? They say that you are a bad person, you're weak, you're sinful, you shouldn't feel angry. If you feel angry, it means X, Y, and Z about you. So take a minute to think about that, okay? Then the next question is, what did I learn during this recent experience? It could be what you learned about yourself, what you learned about others, what you learn about how you tend to react to anger, anything. Just take a second and, look at it like, what did I learn? And the last question, actually not the last question, second to last question is, did I like how I handled my anger at that time? And specifically, what I would like you to do is, I'm going to rephrase that question. What did I like about how I handled it, right? And sometimes that can be hard because we're so used to hearing, don't be angry, don't be angry, don't be angry. So you think that any recognition of anger or response out of anger is bad. But even responding out of anger is not necessarily bad or sinful. It depends on what you do. So think about what you liked. And if you have a difficult time answering it, think about somebody who you truly, you really love, you really cherish, respect, admire, and pretend that they reacted the way you did when you were angry, right? What would you tell them that you liked about how they handled it? Okay, so if you can't think of yourself, think about somebody else, okay? And then the next question is, would I have done differently? Would I have done anything differently the next time I experience this anger? And the question, you can answer yes or no. Some people are like, what? I felt good about how I handled that. Sometimes you may feel like, well, I wish I had done this differently. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a controlled response. So let me explain what I mean by that. So sometimes for some people, they may answer that I wish I had been more expressive about that anger, spoken up about it. When we get regret sometimes about these situations, it's not that we flew off the handle or that we said something that we regretted. For some people, it's failing to take an action within a specific amount of time, or just blocking it out altogether. So I'm going to go over those questions with you again. Okay, the first one, recently I felt anger about what? Okay, So blank, fill that one in. The second one, how did I express that anger? Number 3, how did it show up in my body? Number 4, what messages did the spiritually abusive system or any other type of abusive system tell me about being angry, right? What would they say is true about me because I became angry in that situation? Then the next question is, what did you learn? What did I learn during this anger? Then what did you like about how you handled it, right? And then last question, what would you do differently? And if you have difficulty with answering these questions, think about somebody who you love, respect, admire, responding the same way you did. And then you can look at it from that more objective perspective if that's a challenge. So I hope this is helpful. I would love to hear from all of you in the comments section. Did you do this journaling exercise? Did it help? What are some other things that you would have liked to see in that? What other things would you want to journal about or think about regarding anger? Tips you have for other people. So if you would like to book a free consultation with me, go to my website, skillsetcounseling.com, or you can click on the link in the description box, which will take you to the website where you can book your free consultation. All right. I hope you have a wonderful day and keep up the good work. Bye-bye.